Hello and welcome to this week's reading vlog. I read a total of this many books this week. My name is Chanel, for those of you who may not know. I have had a very busy week this week. I decided that I'm making my own little Persephone themed tarot deck. I'm sorry about that, I forget that cat butts are in the view sometimes. So I've just been really busy with that project. And I've also taken a breather. I got a bit burnt out, this close to burning out. So I rested for the entire first half of this week, and therefore I've read a decent amount of books already so far. So the first book that I read this week was 6 Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. So this is a little in-between filler book in her current series. The first being the Wings and the Serpent, something of that vein. I'll put a picture up of whatever it is. It's okay, so it's about a human who is living in a cursed town. The god has sort of brought a plague upon them, and she's trying to find a cure to this plague. Her studies lead her to wanting to experiment with vampire blood, and to do that she needs to get it from a vampire. So she goes and knocks on a vampire named Vale's door, and they sort of strike up a bargain, and in the process fall in love. It's cute, it's fine, it's 3.5 stars. You know, I had a good time. I actually really love novellas. They just get straight into it, and I really appreciate the not faffing about and just getting down to business. So I enjoyed it, and I think it is really good to read before you read the second book in the series. Hey baby. Which is called Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I gave the first book in this series 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. The novella I gave 3.5. Unfortunately, this one I gave 3. For me, this carries on in this world where there are humans and vampires, and there are also 2 types of vampires who are warring against each other. The reason that I didn't enjoy it as much was because it just felt odd. They were dropping F-bombs just every second sentence. It was just and the dialogue between them was really orchestrated. Like, it wasn't organic, it was a bit cringy. I didn't like the back and forth, I didn't like the dynamic. It didn't feel like the first book. I actually sat there and I thought I was going to DNF it. I'm like, how did I give the first one 4 stars? What's going on here? But I persevered. I'm glad I did. It did get better as it went along. It was just the beginning of it was not for me. I much preferred it once Araya and Rain started working together, definitely. So it was okay. I don't really care about it though anymore. I'm no longer interested to see if it's going to continue. It did give me a lot of Feyre and Rhys vibes this time around. Not so much the first time, because the first time was a bit more Hunger Gamesy. I just really liked the first book. I thought it was great. I love the character of Araya and Rain. In this one, their characters changed, and I didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much. The sex scenes were fine. There was a lot of, like, you know, beg for me, beg, and she just went a bit hard with the begging. Oh, there was another thing that irked me. For some reason, Rain is always saying, there she is, there she is, there she is, and it got really bloody irritating. It didn't feel organic. It felt like the author wanted to give him a catchphrase, and so she did, and she just kept inserting it willy-nilly. So I think all these reasons is why it just didn't feel great to me. With her previous series, Daughter of No Worlds, I think the first and second book were 5 stars, and the third book, I didn't even rate it because I really disliked it that much, but I love the first 2 so much that I didn't want to give a bad rating. So I don't know, I'm thinking perhaps this author, as they go along in the series, it just gets worse and worse for me. That being said, I am going to read the sort of next book that's in between this actual trilogy or whatever it's going to end up being, because like I said, I like the novella. That was really cute. So I'm going to give the other one a go because I do like generally Carissa Broadbent's writing. It's just in this sequel, no, I didn't. And then I read the book Compulsion, and I did DNF this. It was just nonsensical superfluousness. It was overwritten so much. This one was just jamming in not only big words, like words you like, hey, I'm going to look up a thesaurus and just change all these 10 words into really big words. But also the way she was describing a scene, it's like she wanted to put so many metaphors and similes and imagery and everything into just one paragraph that it didn't make sense. I love flowery writing in general, but this was just an absolute mindfuck to read. To be honest, every single I'm like, what does that mean? okay. So yeah, it was not for me. It was very heavy on the drugs, and I don't really like reading about people just constantly popping pills and mixing their pharmaceuticals and things like that, and the woman was just a bit all over the shop. So yeah, it was, I could tell immediately after the first chapter, no, it's not my kind of story. Beautiful cover, lovely cover, stunning. The story, no. I read The Cartographers. Now, I got this confused with another book called The Cartographers. So this is an audiobook. I was listening to it and I thought, this doesn't sound like the plot. And then I realized I was listening to a completely different Cartographers. This just was too YA for me. I can just tell. I was getting into it. It was about an event that happened in the world, and it caused time disruptions. So there are places in the world where time moves differently, and a lot of family members were lost in these time pockets. And look, the premise was really interesting, but I could just tell I wasn't getting into it, so I decided to DNF it. Another DNF was Twin Crowns. Once again, I knew pretty much straight out the gate that if it was too young. It's a YA book, and the way that they were speaking to each other, it was not for me. Too young, too immature, too juvenile, and the premise of the story wasn't enough to keep me invested. So once again, like I said, I'm actually DNFing very, very quickly, because I just know now that this is no way going to be a 4-star book for me. I don't want to continue reading. I need to get those like, oh, this could be 4 stars to persist, unless it's a nonfiction, because obviously I'm learning knowledge. But with fiction, I'm getting harsh, man. I'm not doing the, it's a 3 stars anymore. Like, I don't want them. I just want 4 and ups, you know? And so far, those are all the books that I have read this week. I am going to also read some of the other books that I'm not doing. Yes, so I have news. I'm not doing the Who Wrecked It Better segments anymore, because they really derail my reading. I really am a mood reader. I've got to read what I'm in the mood for. And now that I'm really DNFing like this, I can't really compare books, because I'd have to read the whole books to know which book was better with which book, and is Goodreads better or is library thing better? I have a feeling Goodreads is better. I don't know. I just have a feeling, because I found that a lot of the books on library thing that they were recommending me were all like under 3.5 star averages. But why would you recommend such lowly rated books? Like, some of them were 2 stars and less. And I'm like, well, library thing, perhaps there's a reason why so many people have slammed this book. Don't recommend it. So I've still got them though. So occasionally when I do want to pick up some different books, because I don't always just want to read from my TBR, I want to, test the waters, so to speak, I will just grab some recommendations and just say off the bat, oh, this site recommended this was a flop or a bust. Twin Crowns was a library thing recommendation, but I DNF that already. So I think this week I'm going to read some of the other library books that I would have showed you in my previous vlog that I hauled. Besides that, yeah, I'm just going to go with the flow, man. Whatever I feel like reading, I'm just going to do it. So I think this week I might wrap up on Saturday, because I've already read so many books this week so far, and see how we go. But I am also, like I said, just really into making my tarot deck at the moment. So I'm not reading as much now going forward. I read all those books in the 3 days of this week that I took off and rested and recuperated. And then I just went gangbusters on my creative project. I will touch base with you guys with the next set of books that I have read for this week.
Hello, so this is my outfit for today. This is thrifted, and it is from Reformation. So that's today's outfit of the day.
Hello, so I just finished reading Tidesong. I will show you some of the pictures while I talk about it. This is a teen graphic novel, or middle grade graphic novel, to be honest, it's probably more middle grade, about a young girl who's struggling to live up to the expectations her family has put on her in regards to her magic. They want her to get admission to an exclusive magic school, and because of her impatience in wanting to be perfect immediately to please them, causes a lot of frustrations. So she ends up going to stay with her other grandmother and cousin / auntie. That grandmother is also incredibly negative in their criticisms and stern and hard on her. Thankfully, her cousin is an ally and tries to help her actually learn and show her some kindness. While she's doing this, she ends up entangling her magic with a water dragon because both of them are undergoing similar themes of not feeling good enough for their parents and wanting their parents' approval and to make them proud. So this story then goes through what it is to trying to be your own person, to speak up and to let go of what your family wants for you. Instead, do what you want to do for you. The illustration style is stunning. I absolutely loved the color story in this. It definitely gives off Studio Ghibli vibes. Oh, there's a kitten. She's so cute. I thought it was sweet. Given it 3.5 stars. It is hard to listen to a character who has she ends up having a very negative self-talk in her head. I guess mostly because of the way that her family has treated her and the perfectionism that is placed on her and the expectation. So she's quite hating towards it. There's a lot of self-hatred going on because she doesn't feel like she's good enough because her family makes her feel like she's not good enough and have put that pressure on her to get into this school, even though it's probably not something she wants to do herself. There was also a tale, obviously, of friendship between her and the water dragon and sort of restructuring family dynamics by allowing yourself to make your own way and make your own choices, even if that disappoints others. So I did enjoy it. That was Tidesong. Hello. I love you. Hello guys, come on now. I just finished reading What Works for Autistic Children. This was interesting in that it really breaks down what kids perhaps are going through when they're at school, when they're around friends, when they're around family, things like school refusal, sensory issues. It was very interesting in that respect, but the way it's written is a bit odd. It's not really straightforward. It definitely feels coloured by the author's opinion about these things. It's really about not pressuring neurodivergent children to be like their neurotypical peers, how to also get the school to understand why they need accommodations and changes in schools, that they're not being difficult, that it's a condition. This is the way they are, and this would help them learn. But yeah, it was interesting compared to all the other autistic books that I have read, but it's not one that I would recommend as like the one that you should read about autism. It was just something different. I did like the part about school refusal, and I could see how my children resonate a lot with these issues, and was sort of also reassured that I am on the right path in how I'm trying to support my children through some of their struggles in the areas that they struggle with in, being in this world, because it's pretty tough to be in part of this world when you are neurodivergent. But yeah, I'm not going to rate this. It's too hard to rate. So it was interesting, quick, very fast read, but it's not one that I would recommend solely, maybe just as a extra bit of reading. Morning. I am exhausted. I haven't slept in 3 days. I don't know why guys, but I hope I sleep tonight. Today's outfit is by Raquel Allegra and it's thrifted. So I just read Lightfall. I'll show you some photos. This is a middle grade graphic novel about a young girl who is going on a quest to save her grandfather, to stop an entity known as Cal from destroying the remaining shards of the sun. So Cal destroyed the sun a long time ago, but a race called the Guldurians managed to find a few shards and create some safe spaces for citizens so that these shadow demons can't get them. But Cal has returned and is now systematically destroying all the lights. and you've got Cad the Last Galdurian who's accompanying B. So they are making their way through, doing all these quests. There's a lot of themes of family and grief and loss and hope and courage, overcoming your fear, that kind of thing. The illustrations still stunning. I love them. They're so cozy and rich and inviting. The book is a bit vague, so you don't really know everything that's going on. I don't really understand what has happened. You're sort of learning as the characters learn, and things are being elucidated as you go along. So because of that, I really cannot predict how this story is going to end. It's not predictable because I just don't know enough about the world and the previous goings on to hypothesize what will happen. So it's fun. So I'm sort of in the dark. I'm just along for the ride. I think it's fun. It's wonderful. I love a lot of the characters. My favorite character, besides Nim the cat, is this dude right here. Don't know their name. They are as yet nameless, but they're cool. They've got some mad powers. But this was so much fun, and I honestly can't wait to read the third one. I think it's a great little adventure. They likened it to Avatar, The Last Airbender, which I do get why. There's similar like themes and storytelling. And Amulet, which is another graphic novel, but I've never read that before. In this world, there are spirits, so that's called kind of like gods, but they've sort of distanced themselves from humans because humans can kill them. But there's so many magical creatures, and it's such a wonderful little world. I love it. I think it's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to continuing on with the series. I also have started The Burning Woman, so I'm not going to talk about that here because I just started reading that. But that was everything for this week. I am very much obsessed with making my tarot deck at the moment, so I'm really not doing much reading. I don't know how much reading is going to be next week's vlog. It might be the shortest amount of books I've ever read, the smallest amount of books I've ever read. Yeah, that's life. I sometimes read a lot, and then sometimes other hobbies take up all of my attention and I get very hyper-focused on them. But besides that, I'm going to read this too. I got this from the library. This is a big boy. This is A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. It's supposed to be a really great children's book, so I thought I'd give it a go. If it's not good, I'll stop reading it, but I just wanted to see if this is going to be a series that I maybe want to give to my children. So like I said, I like to try them out first. But I've still got this one to read, so I'm going to prioritize the library books, and same as this one, so that I can get them back to the library. So I will absolutely, definitely be reading those next week, 100%. There's also some other books I've got on my e-reader that I would like to get to. There's just so many things to do and not enough time, you know, so many books to read, and yet I've got so many other things to do. Like my dishwasher broke, so I've been hand washing, and it's taking up a lot of my time. You don't realize how much time it takes to hand wash and hand dry when you're so used to just loading your dishwasher, putting it on and emptying it. It's one of those things. So I've got a few more things to fix around my house this weekend, and yeah, and hopefully I will do some reading. I will do some reading. So anyway, I hope that wherever you are having an absolutely gorgeous morning, afternoon, or evening. And as always, stay well, Star Child.